So, good
Mhm.
afternoon, everyone. I'm Miss Dassel of Faith and Works Private Tutoring, and welcome to our podcast, Electrify Education. And today in our tutor series, we have Miss Amanda Crespo. Welcome, bienvenido, bienvenida.
Hola a todos. Hi, everybody.
Okay, so
I'm
can you give me a
Amanda.
brief intro about who you are, what you're about?
I'm a language coach. I'm from Spanish Café, TT Amanda Crespo. Nice to meet you guys. Mucho gusto. And I love teaching. I mean, it's obvious, right? That's why we're here for people who
Yeah.
are passionate about education and stuff. So I teach the adults and I teach the youngins, teenagers as well. Totally different approaches for the different groups. And I've been teaching for about 15 years. I have
Wow.
conversational courses and all of that. Yes.
You started when you were 15? You don't look.
It's like 15. I'm going to take it, girl. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. Thank
You
you
don't
very
look a
much.
day over 20.
Oh, girl, please. Stop it.
Great, great, great. All right. So, the questions are going to be a
Mhm.
mix. So, some business, personal are just like fun, just lighthearted questions, and then we have some education questions, right?
All right. Cool, cool.
All right. Okay. So, what was your journey towards becoming a tutor?
That's a good one. So, my daddy, my daddy-o, is a Spanish teacher. His name is Mr. Crespo. No kidding, because I'm Amanda Crespo. How we working that out, right? Yeah. And he's like a big deal. And when I was informed too, I came home and I was like, Daddy, who are you? Because a lot of people would stop me and say, "Is your dad Mr. Crespo? Like the
Really?
Spanish legend?" That's how it was. And I didn't know that he was this big deal. I didn't know that he was, all these people had this so much respect for him and all of that. And I became a bit intrigued because now I realize that, my dad is this teacher that, everybody makes a big deal about. So
Right.
he started to teach me how to teach at age 15 or so. So he started to
Wow.
teach me how to tutor from that age. And I just
Amazing.
loved it. I thought it was so exhilarating to hear, like, what? These kids didn't know this and now they know it. And I just ended up continuing along from him encouraging me because he realized it's something I love to do.
Right.
Um, and I kind of like teaching the kids who are older than me too, because that was nice. Like, oh my gosh, they are older than me, and I could teach them Spanish. Feeling like a
Right.
boss out there, So, and yeah, to make the little extra change too, because tuition back then, that money
Yes.
was like big money. I was like, what? So I think that's what caused me to get into it full time. It's his inspiration. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. How has the social media shaped how you run your tutoring business? That's a big.
Right. Me think.
So you've
Well,
been in
for
it for
sure.
15 years. So obviously
Exactly.
before social media and now the.
Right. Right. So it was a lot of references. I always had a lot of clients, I guess because I had my dad's reputation. Like I had already
Right.
followed his footsteps. So we were known for being in the business of teaching.
Yes.
But one day, a couple of years ago, somebody was telling me, you should do some marketing, you should get on social media. I said, oh no, I don't need to do that. I mean, lessons is just references. Somebody will refer
Right.
you. I thought nothing of it. And I look at me now. I am all
Hmm.
up in the social media thing because I
Yes,
feel
you
like you
are.
have to be in it. Yeah, you have to be in it because you could be missing out a whole section that just doesn't know about you. So I
Exactly.
figured it's not just about how much results you're producing and all of that, but social media helps you to have a relationship, like a relationship I wouldn't normally be able to have with people who are interested in the language and enjoy community and all of that. And of course, getting the word out there by just somebody pressing a button, as opposed to just references. So it's expanded my
Yeah.
I
And
guess
your
my
reach
range
is
of
now public,
yes.
regional, international. You could reach so many more
Yes,
students.
yes, yes. It's really nice that we have social media to open up the door like that, girl. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have been some of your best investments in your business? What have you invested in your business to
Um,
help it grow,
I would say
stretch?
yes. I think, well, for me, software, like paying for certain educational software where it can be really entertaining because of COVID, because everything became digital, right? I wasn't
Right.
planning to be Mrs. Digital, but when we had to do everything online, yeah, because my classes are really kinesthetic, so it's a lot of hands-on. I would have color-coded different chips and chits and cards
Mm-hmm.
and lots of movement, and I had game show buzzers for class. Like class was like a whole
What?
production. And when you see a girl couldn't do that anymore because COVID was here, I had to find a way to keep it just as entertaining,
Hmm.
but not uh not in person. So
Right.
investing in the software and the programs, that was a really big thing for me because I was able to create a very entertaining experience even though
Yeah.
it was online. So I loved that. And I would say the other thing that I really think was a big help for me was going and learning a bit about marketing. I didn't do too much. I just did three three sessions um with my friend Robin Gale from Gale and Co. And I
Mm-hmm.
had done and I had also asked a girl for some tips on branding and marketing. I think it's just like when you reach on social media now, trying to figure out
Yeah.
um because I was not the one. The girl was learning about hashtags. I was like, bio, what's a bio? Like I was not the one. Like, so I think investing in learning in that way now that I realize is such an important factor for um people like us who want to be in education, like being able
Yeah.
to reach. Yeah.
Yeah, because the
So I
kids,
think
they are quick, so we have to be as quick as they are and reach them. Yeah. Um, all right. So, what are some of your favorite business slash educational resources? You talk about some of your educational like websites, or what are some of the things that you,
wow, a
it could
lot.
even be
I
books
love
that you've read
I
or
love
courses or
I like to use Padlet. I love to use Edpuzzle. Um, gosh, boy, I should have had some time to prepare for that. Let me think. Um, because I use a lot of different things
you
combined now that I'm totally online. Um,
right.
yeah, I enjoyed using Padlet. I like the Quizlet Live. That's where we have like the online games.
Okay.
Are you talking about those kind of programs?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. All of that.
yeah, Pear Deck, Classic, so many things, but anything that I can cause an interaction on the other side, meaning the person who is sitting on the other side of the screen could press something, poke something, draw something,
Right.
and we could interact back and forth. I love it to be very interactive, and I find those allow for that. Like the ones where you can leave a, well, Spanish is language, so we have to have
Yes.
a lot of speaking, and I like where we could have a little voice note, so they could put a voice note on the screen for me, and then I can put back one,
Oh
and they could draw.
wow.
Yeah, so I really enjoy using, yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of them, but
that's what
I
your
was
top
going to
your
do
top ones. All right.
them.
What's one thing you wish you had known before you began your career?
I wish I had known the power of marketing. I
Mm,
really, because for years, I have so many reviews from people that I don't have. Like they wrote it to me and I didn't keep it. I have so many years and people telling me, thank you, I got a distinction or whatever. Nothing, no record
uh,
of it except my mouth. I regret so much not keeping proper records. Um,
that's
I
an
tell my son, well,
excellent point. Taking notes myself. Yes, yes.
yeah, because
You
it's
take
all
it for granted. You're like, oh yeah, I know I'm good. And but
yeah, I need
sometimes,
a little proof. I need a little
yeah.
screenshot. I need a little, that's right. And they would come back and tell me. And it's only 1 year when somebody said, well, do you have it saved? I'm like, no, I didn't think about that. I was enjoying the results so much that I didn't let the results mark it for me. And I was like, you should
Wow,
let other people see the results. You know, like even my
that's true.
dad, he has he told me, he was like, I don't know if it's, I don't want to lie on the manner. I think it's hundreds of ones because he's been teaching maybe 40 something years, a long, long, long time. And he would
Wow.
write down, he kept records of all his ones, but what he did not do is keep the records of the names and the and the actual like feedback people would tell him, he wouldn't, same thing, he didn't take pictures or
Right.
do anything of it. And he's like, no one is going to believe me, Amanda, but it's been like the amount of distinctions I have is thing, you know.
Hmm.
So now I'm now trying to scramble up. I'm now trying to pay
Hey, remember I
attention.
taught you in 2018. Can you just write something up quickly?
Not even that, not even that. Like after I see like those ship sales, they go on. So it's like basically I only started collecting reviews probably a year and something or so ago. Maybe no, 2 years. 2 years I know, but that's so late. I mean, it's 15 years. So that is so
Yeah.
late. So that's something that I wish I knew.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's an excellent one. All right. How were you able to pivot after the COVID pandemic lockdown? Because, tutoring is usually done in person, live classrooms, you interact with the students, and now you have to switch to virtual. How was that for you? How were you able to
Well,
pivot?
at first I was really mortified. I was like, this is awful because I love to stimulate the kids. We have all these games and activities. I'm like, well, we can't do these anymore. And
Hmm.
I felt like I had to start over. And it was really horrible because I didn't have any time because exams were coming up for the kids. And it was a really tough time for me when it now started for the first 2 months because I wasn't able to be the kind of teacher I was accustomed being, you know. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about? Like I was accustomed to be in a particular way, and now I was forced to be behind the screen all the time. And I felt like my standard was so lame. Now I'm like, I can't do the things I'm accustomed. So I had to relearn. I had to spend lots of late nights staying up, sitting down, drawing, mapping out things, trying to
Yeah.
find new ways. I had hours on. I felt like I was in university, like looking to see different programs for language, to see um what can I do to make this thing just as exciting, but in a digital way? Like, how can I get that same kinesthetic feel of movement? And um, because I try to like, so a lot of my classes are sort of in the direction of for kids that, not that it's for kids, but I particularly think of the kids that were told that they can't do language, they're not, you
Mm-hmm.
know, this is not for you. I'm like,
Mm.
oh yeah, well, I'm gonna show you because
Right.
everybody can learn. So we're gonna do this, but you had to get creative for that, right? So I was, yeah, girl. So that is what ended up happening. I ended up getting to be really good at online classes by force because of
Yep.
COVID. And that was nice because you could have people from other countries. So then it opened up and I was able to get people from abroad, and that was nice. So it ended up being a blessing in disguise,
Yeah.
having to learn to do other kinds of things I'm offering that are digital, and even selling digital content, things I just never thought about doing. So
Yeah.
I think I was able to. Thank God.
Thank God. Amazing. All
Yeah.
right. So, getting into the educational sector now. Do you think the curriculum is outdated? And which subjects would you think should be included and why?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You message me and let me know if anybody tell you no. I want to know who is going to say no to this. Yeah, it's so unfortunate. It's so sad. One of my students actually migrated to Canada, and she was sharing that with me, that they have they're forced in school to do the curriculum includes life skills, things like learning how to manage your finances,
Wow.
marketing. Yeah, things you might want to know. you know,
Hmm.
how to manage, how to choose property, real estate, um, the kind of things that people,
What?
yeah, that's what the kids,
And this
that's
is what
what
age group?
teenagers. So, but that's what people want to know. Like, I would have loved someone to tell me about how you go about choosing a house, and the value of owning property as opposed to renting, and all these things when I was in Bishops. Like, I,
Yeah. Wow,
yeah,
that's
so yeah, they have a lot of classes with the things that people do in real life, graphic arts and the things that you can get a job with. So it's not that the other things are not useful,
key
but it's
point
just
there. That's
yeah,
a key point. Think subjects you can get a job with, oh my gosh, I have never used Pythagoras theorem ever in my life. In the bank, and never in a passport form, never licensing office, never had to use
Right.
Pythagoras theorem.
That's
Why?
right. And for the sciences, and they that may need it, no problem. You could go over in your corner and do it as your special subject. So the force everybody.
Oh my goodness.
Um, yeah, it's rough. So I
Yeah.
think down here is extremely. It's so. I I'm trying to remember somebody. There were some other topics, as I said. I was hoping that would have come to Trinidad, but it didn't. Meaning it started to open up a bit. I'm trying to remember them. Meaning subjects that. So it may not even be the ones as far as with Canada that I was exposed to, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I think it's in the Caribbean, but we still haven't been offering it as an option. And then there's this
Mm.
whole thing with the prestige schools. What school did you go to?
Can you guess? Make a guess. See if you can guess.
I feel like in my subconscious I saw you say something, but then I'm not sure if it was you. So did you? What were you convent?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, you were convent.
Yes,
You were
yes,
convent.
yes,
See,
yes.
subconscious. I felt like I saw it somewhere floating around
Yeah.
on the internet.
St. Joseph,
Right,
St. Joseph, not
right.
Port of Spain. There's a
Okay,
whole different
okay.
culture
And it is
between the
okay,
convents. It is, yes. We're more laid
okay,
back. We're the
okay.
cool convent. They're a little more stuck up. I said it.
Oh, good. Well, you well, if you only one in Port of Spain, I could have said the thing about knowing that I remember in the Port of Spain one, there were a lot of subjects that you were not offered. It's just not academic enough. So you
Nope.
don't need to learn it. And I'm like, what
There's
if
not
somebody
a
wants to
tech.
do that
I I can't no. I think in from 1 to 3 we do like home ec. There used to be sewing, there used to be
right?
typing, there used to be embroidery. Like we used to do a lot of different little skills. Like embroidery is important. How do you sew a button? Like people don't even know how to do that. Like
Mm-hmm,
simple
mm-hmm,
life
mm-hmm.
skills, as you said, life skills is a thing. And I don't know if it's still there, but
Well,
this
you
is
had probably that right. But I remember definitely for convent, for CXD, the options, certain things were just like, it's not academic, you don't need to
no,
learn it.
there are no non-academic. I think now there's might be drama. That might be the stretch.
Right. Like all of these things need to be an option. Like
Or
to me, that
physical
should be
education, I
a
think.
way.
But I don't.
Yeah.
It's
Education is so
sciences,
important for the future.
languages, or sciences, languages, or business. And that was the only stream. Actually, it was just languages and sciences. Those are the two streams, and yeah, maybe pick a
Uh,
language, and that's about it.
yeah, not impressed. Not impressed
Yeah,
with that whole setup there. Yeah, and the fact that they kind of treat some subjects like, well, whatever, and then over. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not too
yeah.
happy with it. I'm definitely not happy with the Spanish. I'm not happy at all. But we
Why?
have no choice. I do not. I
Or
shouldn't even be saying
the
anything.
way it's taught,
The way it's taught, I know also the curriculum.
the curriculum.
We
Okay.
have some problems with that. Yes, 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 definitely,
Yeah.
because it doesn't encourage conversational Spanish. That's why kids can do CXC Spanish and speak nothing. I mean, like nothing. Like have no kind of proficiency. You can't even go have a conversation with a little waitress in a store properly. I mean, what is that? That is not. If you compare it to the system in the states, the kids have a whole different range of what they are made to learn, and then they can function. And I just am about functionality.
And you have hit the nail on the head. I could write a whole Spanish essay. I could read the whole newspapers. I could listen to it. Ask me to have a conversation. It's like a caveman. Hola, me llamo Dasa. See, that's and I am like, I have studied, like, I could write. Give me, uh, I barely passed orals
Real
and go by
vocab.
the grace of God. Spanish orals was a mess. French orals was a mess, but I could write it. I could read it. I could listen to
Mm.
it. But conversation, that
Oh,
is so, and that is the point of a language to speak it.
to be able to speak it. I thought so.
Oh, girl. Imagine
Yeah.
I went to Spain for 3 months and my Spanish is still horrible because I didn't even have the confidence. My friend,
Yes, yes.
we at time we got lost in the airport and we had to ask somebody and I was like, no. And she was like, you study
It could be intimidating, girl. It could be intimidating.
I was like I was like, donde está?
Like, well, I got to it and keep going, girl.
And the exito, no, I don't know. Terrible. Because you made that's an excellent point. An excellent point. It
Oh,
definitely
God.
needs to be more conversational, oral based than the technical.
Bit of the exam is oral, but it's the preparation for it is very,
Very
it's
minimal. Very minimal.
review and very, yes, it is. It is.
It's like passe compose, you know that by inside and outside. But the real point of the language is to speak it.
Yeah, it
All
is. It
right.
is. It is. It is.
What is up? Do you agree with kids going back to school during a pandemic? Yeah, reopening for
I'm
some
really not sure.
students.
I'm not sure. I'm very torn about it because I had nobody got me ready for how to feel about a pandemic.
Hmm.
This is unprecedented, so nobody got me ready. It's just so many mixed emotions, like on one hand, I'm like, some of the kids are getting depressed and some of them are actually have totally robbed of any kind of social experience. So
Hmm.
the form ones who passed for whatever school when COVID was going on have never been in school. They have only been on their laptops. They have never met each
Wow. I've
other.
never even thought about that.
Yeah,
Wow. And even infants.
that is craziness. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like they don't even know what it is to make friends on the first day of school, and you can't make friends the same way on Zoom with your teacher hearing the entire conversation. And what do you want to? I mean, like the whole thing is just awkward. But then there's the whole factor that kids have no kind of care at all about anything called COVID. They don't, especially younger ages. They do not care about
Yeah.
sanitize. Don't dig my
Mask.
nose. What? What are you talking
Six
about?
feet? What's
We have to
that?
high five. We have to,
Yeah, we
we
have
have
to
to fist
hug
bump.
and play.
Yeah, because that's what kids are meant to do. They're meant to play. And so that responsibility to not, bring home COVID is a lot. I feel like
Hmm.
it would be a breeding ground, but at the same time, so I feel it's like a I'm torn because on one hand there's psychological sickness that comes with being so isolated for so long. Cause yeah, I've been speaking to a lot of parents for that. A lot of the kids have just been literally alone, like not playing with anyone. There's no one around, and the only place they would have had is school. So now that that is gone, they are
Oh.
just not social. So they just play video games all day and become kind of like a recluse. One told me that her son doesn't come out. He just stays in the room all day, and she's worried. He's like he won't come to the grocery. He won't go to the mall. He's just actually trained himself to not
Wow.
need people to that extent, and that's not good.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. I didn't even think.
yeah,
And that's the thing, you don't even think of it, how it affects children. Like, we are so
yeah,
like
because
busy just trying to survive as adults, pay the bills, make sure they have food on the table,
mhm,
whatever, but you
mhm.
never stop to think how it's affecting. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
And a
crazy.
friend told me her daughter told one of the classmates in the new class, um, hopefully one day we'll meet in real life. It's like maybe one day we could even meet in real life, you never know. And we could actually play a game or something. Like it's like just to meet in real life
The
is a big deal.
things you can't, oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking. That's
Yeah.
really
So I
heartbreaking.
don't know how I feel. I don't know. I can't say yes or
I
no. It's too
don't,
many factors.
or maybe like a staggered kind of thing, like so, like say there are 5 classes, like no, that's like about 7. I was thinking standard 1 to 5, and then the infants. So maybe like stagger it some way, like one day infants
I heard
and
them saying that they were thinking
right
of that,
one day.
but they don't want them to play. Because
Oh,
I
well,
know that
that makes
some schools
sense.
have opened already and they're trying to get them to, well, be very cold and be very, because of the case of COVID, but then that's just not how kids are. So
Right.
one
But then you
school,
see
mhm,
adults partying. So, what example?
right. I was like, well, look at this. Well, you're living all your best life and everybody child home. Lonely, lonely, watching the TV alone. I said, look at this,
Hmm.
all the outside. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh,
But nobody prepared us for the skills. So
yeah.
it's the kind of, nobody got us ready.
Yeah. All right. If you were the Minister of Education, right, what's some of the policies or ideas you like to implement?
Girl, I find I could have gotten these questions before. I find
I literally wrote this today, like in bed. I was like, I can't find my notes. I should have written it digitally before. This is punishment. And I'm on the bed brainstorming. You're
okay.
welcome.
If I was, thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias.
You're my
This
guinea pig.
is so fortunate. I am truly fortunate. I feel so blessed.
These are
Thank you so much.
fists. Some of the fists.
So I if if I were in that position, I think one of the things I would have done is change up the way to choose teachers for the system
Ooh,
and the way and incentivize um high standards of teaching and force schools to allow every teacher to have an assistant so that yeah
I
for
like that
sure.
idea. I like that idea. They
Longer
used
break.
to do that before, like long ago. Like a
Really? I
student
did not
teacher.
know. Yeah.
This is from my knowledge of what book was that we did in literature back in the day.
Which
What
one is
was it
this? The red
called?
one?
Either Samuel Salvon or somebody, right?
I
This
don't know that
it
one.
was a student teacher, right? But back in the
Mm,
day, like
mm.
pre-colonial times, they used to have a teacher,
Oh.
and then one of
Mm.
these they used to have like a 15-year-old, like you just leave school,
An
and they would come
assistant,
and
right?
help the primary
Oh.
school. So you get job experience, right?
Right.
So it's mostly like
And you'll be able to know what to tell them
right,
because they know more than the younger ones. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. One teacher to 35 students. What is that? Obviously, kids are going to be left behind. And
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like our education system is so broken. It's so broken. Like there's the whole thing is it's about regurgitation and uh, the breaks are too short. If you
Mm.
check all the studies, actually, the places where education real is soaring, the kids get longer breaks. It's not as intense
Hmm.
and militant as it is in Trinidad. So the breaks that we were trained, kids don't need breaks. Kids need to learn. Yeah, y'all listen. They're kids
What about
rushing down
maybe
to
the
lunch and
length
play.
of school days? Like maybe what longer days, shorter
Even
days?
I'm trying to remember the place. You might know it, because they're like everybody's watching them. They're like the world's model. Is it
Finland.
Sweden? It's
Finland.
Finland. It's Finland. Is that where the school? I think that's where they have very long breaks. I
Yeah,
think they
it's
have walls
Finland.
on the
And they don't
outside of
have
the.
exams. They don't have
Wow.
exams.
I can't imagine such a thing. I
Hmm.
really can't. Because my brain, I am so trained that way.
Yeah.
Exam. Even though my courses I don't are the adult competitional courses, I don't do exams either. I find other ways to evaluate you, but I wouldn't say, hey, it's a test. Yeah, I don't
Right.
do it that way. Yeah, but definitely because if you don't want to teach, like if you actually don't enjoy teaching children, you will mess up their idea
If
of what education is. You mess them up.
yeah, and
And
everybody
yeah,
has a story of something terrible a teacher has told them. It has stuck with them and they would remember it for the rest of their life. So if you're gonna spit venom into them, j- j- just step
get
away.
out of the system. Just get
Yeah,
out of the
just
system.
take a
Yeah.
deep breath and be like, you know what? It's not for
Mhm. You can't even be fired. This is the whole scary thing. Like any government system, you can't be fired. I remember I had a teacher who would would make up marks. Like she would just put marks in.
me.
No like she never checked what anyone did. We know because there are people who were absent constantly and she would just put in marks for them. She would just
Wow.
make up math. And she also had us dissect a frog when that was not anywhere on the curriculum too. So she had people bringing frogs to school, and she just did things that were completely you would be fired for. But she was never fired. Like she just did, I wasn't vexed with her. Obviously, something wasn't okay. But the point is, there's no accountability in
Yeah.
Trinidad. Like I remember teachers coming to class and telling me, okay, so let's talk about a movie today. But for the entire class, they're talking about the
Hmm.
movie, and the movie has no I mean, not even homework was done. And after a while, you realize we're not doing work.
And
This
then
person is getting paid to do no work ever.
segue into that, I had another question, but you brought up a very good point because they're constantly low performing schools, especially in all exams, SEA and CXC, CSEC, CAPE level. But
Hmm.
they have been low performing for years.
Yeah,
And you're telling me no heads are rolling, nothing is changing. You just hope and pray your child will pass for that school, and we're just gonna push that to the side. Like, just make sure it don't go there. Like, what is happening in these low performing schools? Like,
yeah,
I'm not blaming the teachers because sometimes there are stellar teachers who are really putting in the work, and the
yeah,
students just
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
culture is just like wherever I just hear,
Yeah.
yeah, son.
There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors, I think, with low performance schools for sure. But just the fact that the government, to me, the screening process to find out if you are passionate about teaching, it doesn't exist. There is no requirement of desiring to actually be a person to change lives or to
Hmm.
really reform kids. That's not there. They're just looking for a paycheck. Like there are a lot of people who literally you can get in the system easily, and once you're in, you are there and you're torturing those kids. Like those are some of the
Hmm.
jokes we have, that there were teachers that for 30 years did nothing, and they were
Hmm.
allowed to do nothing for 30 years. Like the teacher didn't come to class. I remember I almost said who it was. Somebody told me
Hmm.
teacher did not come to class for the term, the whole term. Ask the principal, well,
Yes,
what's
you
going
hear the
on?
story. Yes, you hear these stories all the
We can't
time.
do anything about it. The principal, we cannot do anything about that. We cannot control what the teachers do. The government has the last say, and all I could do is talk to them. But I cannot even give them a warning letter. They cannot be. It's
Hmm.
almost impossible to get fired. So then you just do what you want, and imagine that widespread, the whole country, where you're just living based on the mercy of if that person wants to do the job, and some people want to, and some people just want to collect the pay. So I would change that and make it that teachers have to be
It's
proven to want to be there.
yeah.
Proven that we could see, we could watch them, we could do demo classes, we could rel. We have to fine tune and pick out these people, because if you put the wrong people, but yeah,
Hmm. That's an
so that's
excellent
something
point.
I would do.
Speaking of the exam, especially SC, because that's the level I mainly deal with. Um,
Mm.
keep, abolish, or restructure.
Oh, huh. These questions.
Yeah, girl. Don't worry, we're getting into the nicer ones just now. You won't have to rack your brain.
Um,
We headed our
I
again.
think it should be. I don't know. I definitely keep this is a no, because we know that a lot of things with FDA, like the fact that once again FDA is only testing you on 4 areas as well, right? Is it 4 or has it changed? I'm very out
It's
of it.
it's three. It's maths, creative writing, language arts. The language arts includes like grammar, punctuation, comprehension.
So there's no science.
No.
That is crazy. How can you not test anything on science to figure this is what is that? Okay, so
Or
right, so
social
yeah.
studies. No, none of that.
No social studies, yeah. So that alone to me is crazy, because then it says that the only intelligence that matters is these 2 areas that was supposedly is going to affect the next 7 or 5 years of your life. That's a pretty hard. I mean, just the fact that what you do at 11 has so much weight is enough pressure already, you know what I mean? And then, exam performance. And I'm guessing they don't have anything like SP. Do they have coursework and stuff like that?
No. It's
No.
literally that one day determines the rest of your life. And that's the pressure. That's the
Yeah,
pressure that
that's how they
that
act. They were like, "Oh my
parents,
God, we have to go to
society,
school."
teachers
Yeah,
put on these 11-year-olds. Like, yo, this could determine the trajectory of your life. You have
yeah.
one day to make it or break it. So if you have
Wow.
anything goes wrong that day and you can't perform, that's it.
Wow. Yeah,
Basically.
so we know that's rubbish. And then the whole yeah, that's craziness. That is craziness. And then the fact that the schools that people want to go to is such a small amount, so it's so much pressure. Like everybody wants to go to this little bit, and all that's left after that is undesirable schools according to what society says. Because I know I had not this school and not that school and all that. So
Exactly.
um,
And there always cries of why can't we get all the schools to the level of prestige, like why can't they all be at that same level?
that's a lot of factors for sure. That is wow. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
and
for sure,
one
for
of
sure.
my issues is definitely the concordat. I'm really I'm not fond of it. You know what that is?
I'm there like
Okay.
watching her like, is she gonna translate this
It
or
okay, so in 1960, I'm just gonna give a brief breakdown. In
okay, thank you for
1960,
that.
right, the Catholic Church and the government
Mhm,
created
mhm.
a document called the Concordat, right, because they
Okay.
want to uphold Catholic education,
All
right? So
right.
they have their schools, right, and they said they made an agreement. We're gonna take 10% our choice of students, Catholic, of course,
Oh,
right? So every certain schools, primary schools, they have a 10%. So let's say, for example, my convent, right? 300
mm,
spaces for 4 months. They already say we have 30, whether or not they pass the exam. These 30 people are set. I don't
right.
know how they choose it. I don't know
So that's the
who.
20% list. I've heard of that kind
Yes,
of thing, but yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes. It's the 20%, not 10, 20%, right?
Right.
And the 200 and whatever remaining spots, yeah, we all fight for that. But we have our people,
Right. Yeah, who
right?
you know.
So instead of 300 fair spaces for students who have worked hard and deserve it, there's 200 and
Hmm.
something. So now we have crabs in a barrel and we have to fight for those
Hmm.
spaces, right?
Okay.
So that's what he have a issue with. And that's since 1960. We in 2021. We don't need a
And
call.
it's
And
totally
I
a thing.
recently saw that there's actually going to be there's a committee to
Mm.
review the
Oh gosh,
concordance.
I would not believe that. That is so a part of us.
If you won $10 million, what are
Mm-hmm.
you buying and why?
No, 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 no. I don't know what I need more time for that because I'm not seeing any millions in my bank account. So my brain not even ready for that
But you
conversation
won
anymore.
it. You won. Your wildest dreams came
I know,
true.
but
What you
but
would
I just
buy?
it just my brain doesn't compute that as yet. Like it's not ready. You know what I mean? Like millions. What is that?
Hmm.
I don't. It's that's another language. I don't know
Talk
what is
about
that.
it.
I don't know what is that. I really don't know what is that, girl. I want to say something real nice and but I don't
You could
know.
be
And there's so
selfish.
many
You could
needs.
say you want to travel. You want to.
No, there are just so many
Ah,
needs all around me. So I don't quite think I would be in that place anymore, to be honest. I
right.
maybe some years ago, but now I think COVID made me so mindful of how much people don't have and how
Have.
much yeah.
Yeah.
Like recently somebody's house burned down and they have 4 kids or whatever. And when I saw that the government is taking 3 months to give you any kind of help, and you have to
Hmm.
stay 3 months with your new house because it's a burnt a piece of nothingness, and the person is there. The person is living in there, and they have 4 kids. I trying to help them in whichever way I can, asking people for whatever. But I'm just like, this is just so crazy how the government is set up that I was like, not even a food grant. She
Hmm.
was not she was not able to eat anything except quicks. There's no electricity, no money for food. And wait 3 months. So like those things have been really since COVID, so many people were in situations because a lot of people lost their jobs. I don't think it would even be selfish. I just not sure what it is I would do, but yeah.
Mm.
But hopefully if I did, I would say that it would be something to get people to be able to um earn their own money. Because give a man a fish, he feed him for a day, teach
Yeah.
him to fish, he fishing all the time. So um yeah,
Mm.
girl, I don't have the answer to that question. Too many things happening. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that was deeper than I wanted. That's very deep. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
It's supposed to be a fun segment. You're making it a little too deep. But we'll talk about because
Okay.
my mom and I we
Roy.
like to help, so we'll definitely see what
Okay.
we can do. So we'll chat about that.
Well, look at that. Okay.
So you're stranded on a deserted island with food
Uh-huh.
and water. Okay.
Yeah.
What are three items you're bringing and why?
Okay. 3 items. So is Wi-Fi an item?
A modem, I guess.
Is there a way for the Wi-Fi? You could just get me the Wi-Fi. I am here for it. I yeah, McGill. If Wi-Fi is an item, we bring in that. Okay,
Uh,
Wi-Fi is an item. The second item is, oh gosh, God forgive me. It really should be the Bible first, huh? Okay, so the first item will still be Wi-Fi because I can still connect to the Wi-Fi and still get the Bible. After that, I want my Bible. Give me my thing. I want my Bible. And the third item is my paint set.
okay.
Some paint sets, some brushes. Yes. I
Very
could just
good.
have that as one item. Yeah. Yeah. That's what we
Excellent.
I
All
really want to
right.
thank you for questions I never answered before. I really want to thank you. Uh, with all my heart. With all my heart, girl.
Okay. All right. If you could have a superpower,
Mm-hmm.
what would it be and why?
I could have a superpower. This is requiring brain power. Superpower. Come, Miss Darcel. Tell me some superpowers you could think of.
Okay, some people have said they want to read minds,
Mm-mm.
travel through time and space, just
Right.
super strength,
Maybe fly. Maybe fly. That might be
right?
kind of or if there was a superpower where one could eat calories and not be fat,
Oh, girl, tell me about it.
I am here for it.
Just
That is
inhale the
better than
muffin.
flying any day.
Yep.
Any day. Like if I could eat that Haagen-Dazs and then do be fat tomorrow, oh my god, that what I want again? That is
That's
power
it.
from Powerland.
That's the superpower. That's it. That's all we need.
Yeah.
That's it.
So there it
Perfect.
is. I really want the superpower to just eat whatever and the calories get converted into I don't know what,
Probably like
and they just
energy, and you're
like
like,
I
pow.
exhale calories, I exhale
Yeah.
them, and they just come out in your nostrils, and yeah.
Like it builds a tree or something. Something useful for the planet. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. So our last question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
How
ma'am.
do you recharge and avoid burnouts? Because, since the term
Mhm.
starts, I'm sure it's been peace. We haven't really got much holidays, no carnivals or things. So
Yeah.
how do you avoid burning out and how do you recharge?
Real
Yeah.
material. Let me tell you, I am in burnout, so I think you will probably have to tell me how to do that
Me,
because
I was hoping you give me
teaching,
some suggestions. I am
yeah,
tired.
teaching is just I don't know.
I
And
am
there are so
tired.
many people contacting you, and my only thing I did so far was to have a cutoff time for responding because I was like, this is crazy. I cannot be taking calls at 9 p.m. I can't do this anymore. It's not good for me. I am totally so I did say I'm like if you after 9, nothing's happening. I think 9 is kind of late, but
Yeah.
um So that's all I have. But unfortunately, I am burnt out. So I did not find out how to get out of that yet. Um,
The
it
struggle
is,
is real. I am like counting down. All right, 9 more days. Uh, then lessons, and I'm a teacher now, so now I have to teach my
yeah,
students, and I'm tutoring. So that's
yeah.
even a bigger juggle. Like I was like,
Tutor is
Lord, at the
that's
beginning of the
so
year, Lord, let my schedule be booked and busy. Now I'm booked and busy, and I'm exhausted. I'm
right.
tired.
Same thing. I was like, if I had no clients, I would be moping. I'd be moping. I was like, but God,
Yeah,
I don't want to be poor. Like,
yeah.
can you see? I don't want to have no money, but then working so much hours, it can be especially teaching because teaching is a pouring out. You're like,
Yeah, it's a training. Like you'll be
yeah,
like, oh, it's just an hour, 2 hours. Like with my infants, it's like not even 4 hours, and I am exhausted at the end.
takes everything. It takes every last thing.
Exhausted because
Everything
you're
that
like a
you
conductor. No, don't put that
yes.
in your nose. No, get off the chair. No, we're doing this activity now.
It's like 10 jobs. It's like
Mute your
10
mic,
jobs. People
and
don't
you're
know.
on all the time. So by the time I'm finished, sometimes I'm like sweating,
Okay, so ciao.
See
Thanks for
you
the opportunity
later.
to
Hasta
give
luego.
me
Besos.
yummy, yummy. Ciao.
It coming back to me.
Peace, bye,
All
people.
right, honey. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.